Hi, I'm Pierre-Alexandre and I try to review this Soundz Custom Flame in English, so I hope you like this and you like my French accent. This is one of my only review in English, so I try. This custom Soundz Custom Flame are new IEM from the Greek brand, and it's a new brand which is really young in the market, and I try to bring to Audiophile and Pro an versatile IEM. It's selling to 1,200 euros. I try to my best to review this in English. For the design, the Soundz Custom Flame stay relatively normal, with black paint and a standard shell, but it's one thing which is different. It's the switch, which is used by finger, and it's interesting because the most of the filter used or switch used need another tool to be used, and here it's really cool because it's more audiophile parts, and it's interesting because we can do directly in the ears without a need to tool like Earsonics, for example, or another switch which is now on the market in general, which need a tool to push the switch to the settings wanted. After, the shell is very standard, and which is interesting, it's the 2-pin connector, which plate, which flat, and no problem with QDC or MMCX. The tips are really rigid, really not so comfortable because they are very hard, and for me, if you can use another tips, it's better, because for some of you who search more comfortable, which forgot the tips in the ear, it's not the best, and try to another tips. The cable is more audiophile part because it's more qualitative than over in the Pro, which use normally a cable. It's thermoformed. It's not in the standard, for example, of the cable of Sennheiser or Earsonics, which use a cable of metal to modify the shape of the ear hook. That's a good thing because it's more audiophile part, it's better for me, but we can see another brand with better cable in general. Last thing which is interesting with the design is the package with the pouch. Not really pouch, but in metal pouch, which is more pro-like, and join maybe to avoid humidity and for the transport of the pro parts. The sound is very interesting on this Soundz Custom Flame because we have 8BA, 8 balanced armature, which is a Sony brand. The sound is more oriented for the analytical parts, or for the clarity part, if I can say, because on the bass we have a bass which is really controlled but not very deep. So if you want a detailed bass and not very deep, not very elevated, you can like that. This is interesting because another thing, in warm or neutral position we have not a really elevated bass. It's more neutral and slightly warm, and it's all. For the mids, we have mids which is neutral, not very warm, but more oriented treble parts. So yeah, mids are very clean and clear too, little brilliant. Treble are more in front of the sound, and high frequency too. That's interesting because if you like acoustic parts, acoustic style, music style, or classical, it's really good. But for metal or electronics, it's too neutral, too brilliant to use it correctly. On metal, it's really not nice and not really interesting to listen this. For me, it's too much oriented on the treble, and the warm needed for the electronic parts, for the bass, and for the metal, for the bass and guitars, are missing too much. Maybe interesting for the monitoring parts, but it's all. Globally, the scene is really natural, detail is really great, really one of the big things of this IEM, but not really versatile, like for example the Earsonics 500 Pro. The isolation is good, really good, and we can hear anything another except the bass parts, but the isolation is really good. I will compare with another IEM, which is interesting because prices are different and the technicality is different too. So we begin with the AudioSense T800. I think you know, which is 8BA Knowles BA, and we have a more V-shape signature with more deeper bass, but really less control, really less detail, less dynamic too. Globally more warm with the sound, better bass, better bring bass in the signature in general. The mids are toward. We have a peak in the high and around 10 kilowatts, which is we can hear it, but clearly not so aggressive that the curve can show it, and clearly less detail. The high treble are toward and less extended in the treble. So clearly, technically, the T800, which is at 300 euros, is really under than the Soundz Custom Flame. Comparing to Kinera Hidden Golden 2.0, which you can see in the website shifiaudio.fr, but you have .eu if you want to have it in Europe. It's a W-shape signature, more oriented on the clarity. The bass is more deeper, it's more toward, so we can hear less than the Soundz Custom Flame. The voice is more in front, more forward, and more clear, but more thin too, because it's just mid, not bringing by bass, so not really have body, not great body, and more clarity because the peak and the high treble have more impact on the mid. The extreme is really in the front off, in the forward, but it's more analytical too, but less dynamic, less detailed. The scene is less large and clearly oriented for analytical. It's interesting because it's really appreciated by the scene parts, by the pro parts. So maybe it's a good alternative for less than 200 euros. Clearly, technically, it's far less better than the Soundz Custom Flame. To finish with my horrible English accent, horrible English phrase, we finish with the Sennheiser IE900. Mono driver of 7mm, but very interesting, more expensive too, 1,500 euros. The bass is deeper, more more forward, the voices in more forward too, but this is interesting because the treble are more toward and the voice have better body, great detail, but less aggressive because treble are more sweet, less toward, more toward, and stay detailed, but less aggressive, less fatiguing for the ears. The extreme high are elevated too, but the high 900 have better extension in the high treble. The mids are less central parts in the that I want to say. It's the voice is more at the pure central, but more diffusing, which take more place in the scene. The scene is more larger and just larger. Stay English, and more detailed too. Light more detailed too. A bit. And we finish with the conclusion. To conclude, my English is really bad. But the Soundz Custom are really good, but not for all. It's more for me, it's more for the analytical part or for monitoring or acoustic part, classical maybe, but not at all for the fun, the dynamic song, the dynamic style music, because it's too neutral, too brilliant to have a great sound on. It's more for that. It's a really great IM for the price. They are good because they are great detailed, they are good signatures, the choice of the signature is interesting too, and it's more for maybe too, it's another thing I bring to the review, which is difficult to speak in English, but I try to. It's more maybe for the old person, because the are less good in the high parts of the frequency, and maybe the quality which is bring by the Soundz Custom Flame can be good for those who don't have the best ear. For me, which is relatively young, maybe it's too clear, but for some of older person, it may be perfect, better neutral. The quality which is bring by the IM, it may be better, and can be more neutral for the ears. So it's not for all. For me, Earsonics may be better for the scene, better for the live, which is better for the reproducing of the scene. It's here for me, it's more for the analytical, for the monitoring than for the scene, and for those who like really great clarity, really technical, really analyzing parts of the IM. I hope you like the English review. It's really difficult for me because I don't use English really often, and I think it's seen in this review, but I hope you like this. If you want to see another French review, you can see on the other review for other IM, but I think it's the last for a long moment, or maybe another Soundz Custom. Thanks to the brands to send me this, and maybe we can see maybe on the Discord in English. I'm better in writing a review, writing in English. It's more often. Nice day.